Well, hello folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you today. All right, we're going to do our comparison week 2 for Nico Iamaleava and Joey Aguilar. We're going to answer the question, who's won the trade so far?
I wonder who that can be.
Going to talk about the UCLA UNLV game. Watched that one last night. Of course, Tennessee played ETSU. That wasn't much of a game. Let's just put it that way. So far, here's what we've got. Oh, and I'm going to be doing another game later today. I got to talk about my Florida Gators getting beat by USF. I might mention Michigan got beat by Oklahoma. Yeah, that is a shame. And Mississippi State beat Arizona State. That surprised me. I don't know if you watched any of that game, but it was almost unwatchable unless you turn the volume down because they had those cowbells going. God, it's crazy. It's crazy loud when they do that. You can't hear the announcer. You can't hear anything. Anyway, I never bury the lead, so let's get right into these two guys and see how they did. All right, as you can see, Tennessee struggled with ETSU yesterday, 72-17, moving Tennessee to 2-0. Buccaneers go to 1-1. Joey played only one half. He was 23 for 31 for 288 yards, 2 touchdowns. ETSU, they had Cade McNamara, who used to play for Michigan.
It's got to be America's team.
He was 11 for 18 for 85 yards, etc. I thought Star Thomas played well for Tennessee. He's the guy we got out of Duke. Had 3 touchdowns. Brazel played great, 9 receptions, 125 yards. Anyway, it's ETSU. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about that. And if you watch the UCLA game, UNLV was up 23-0 at one point, then it was 23-3 at halftime. And Nico, at that point, literally at halftime, his stats were pretty weak. And UNLV had run all over him, thrown all over him. It was just terrible. And then in the second half, they started going to some little quick receptions for Nico to get the ball out of his hand because they couldn't protect. This is UNLV. They're a Mountain West team. And just to give you an understanding of what this means to UNLV, it's the first time they've beaten a Big Ten team since 2003. They beat Wisconsin 22 years ago. So this is a monster win for UNLV. And they went into this with a chance to win, even though UCLA was favored. It was only by a few points. I think it was like 2 points. But anyway, this puts UCLA at 0-2. And let's see how Nico kind of brought it back in the second half. He was 29 of 41, 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He also ran for a touchdown and he fumbled one time. So let's take a look at their stats collectively for the season. It's only 2 ball games. And like I said, Joey's only played 6 quarters, so he's played a game and a half. All right, so Joey, if you look over here in the right corner, and I'll make that bigger, 535 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, QBR of 68.8. Let's see, his completion rate is 66% right now, that's a nice percentage. Normally he's about 60. I think the ETSU game helped him a bunch. And as you can see, the 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, etc. He ran the ball in the Syracuse game 6 times, 34 yards. You can see he did not run at all at ETSU, and I promise you this, that was planned. There was no point of running him. You don't want to risk getting him injured. He clearly can run. He likes to run, but there was no way Josh Heupel was going to run him in that game. It's just silly to get him hit for no reason. And he's had very little pressure on him in the first 2 games. I don't think he's had, but, even the 1 sack was because of a poor snap. So he's kind of had all day back there to read the newspaper and have some coffee, and then throw the ball, which that helps you. Now let's take a look at Nico's stats. All right, right up here in the corner, 391 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's at a 63% completion rate, 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. He's been running the ball quite a bit. He ran 13 times against Utah and 11 times against UNLV, 47 and 59 yards, 1 touchdown. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say that the Tennessee folks are very happy with the trade and how it's worked out. Now, I've said many times, I'm not happy that we traded only because I wanted to have my pick of 30 quarterbacks that we would have had in the wintertime had Nico left at the proper time. But because he waited till spring and threw his little fit and did his whole little, I'm mad because it got leaked out to Pete Nakos that I was negotiating for more money. He got butt hurt and left. Took a huge pay cut. We all know all that long story. But he's put himself in a very difficult situation. He really has. He's under constant pressure. Look, he's being pressured by UNLV, a Mountain West team. What's going to happen when you go up against Penn State and Ohio State and all these Big Ten teams that have big-time recruits? They're not all 1-stars and 2-stars. It's going to be like Utah game, where he was just, it was terrible. And UCLA's not real happy. They're not happy about anything right now. They're 0-2. Deshaun Foster, does he have a history of coaching? Because, I mean, I watched him in his time management last night. It was terrible. And really, both teams were very penalty prone. They just weren't disciplined. And UNLV, I don't know if they just aren't used to beating a big-time club or, a Power 4 club, because they started losing their minds after they got up by 20. And there was a bunch of unsportsmanlikes, mainly on UNLV at the halftime area and then just after. And then UCLA got in the act. There was like so many penalties in that game. It was insane. And it's not a UCLA show if I don't go to Locked On UCLA and see what Zach Anderson had to say about the game. I don't feel like he was very happy with it.
Welcome back, everydayers. We're reacting to the debacle in Las Vegas. UCLA utterly dominated by the UNLV Rebels. Like, this is utterly embarrassing at this point because Nico has come to UCLA and all of a sudden the Bruins have played like complete and utter garbage. And I would love to say much, much worse, NSFW things, but we're just not going there. The NSFW is watching UCLA play football right now, watching UCLA try to protect Nico, watching Nico trying to do anything, watching the defense come out and actually have a decent game plan and just completely shoot themselves in the foot over and over and over and over again when some of the play calls aren't that bad by Kai Malloy, but they can't tackle. When the ball's uncatchable, they take the guy out. When the kicker is supposedly the worst kicker ever known to mankind, the broadcast is saying he makes a 50-yarder. And then they're calling UCLA UNLV 30. It's an embarrassment, an utter embarrassment. I was texting my girlfriend and saying, hey, do you have a paper bag? Because I am utterly embarrassed. I couldn't find one quick enough to put on my face because that is how embarrassing this is right now. Utterly embarrassing the way the UCLA program has come out. Now, it's one thing to get embarrassed by Utah. All right. Now, that was horrible. But somehow it looked like, maybe the first series you could come out, maybe get a 3-0. And then just to be utterly terrible, undisciplined football, lack of execution, seriously no talent. And this is a UNLV team that has kept it close and get up lots of yards and done some silly mistakes against some bad football teams. Sam Houston State, Idaho State, an 0-3 FCS team. They were trailing in the fourth quarter. New Mexico trailed in the fourth quarter to Idaho State, that same Idaho State team that gave UNLV fits. You could argue Idaho State is better than UCLA, one of the worst FCS teams in all of college football. And UCLA is right there near the bottom. ESPN had the Bruins in their bottom 10. I think this week they'll be number 1 in terms of the worst looking team in the country.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Okay, yeah. I don't think they're real happy. Honestly, they would have been better off with Joey Aguilar. A guy with some moxie who can play from behind. When he was at Appalachian State, they had zero defense there, none. He had an offensive line that last year there that they just let him through. And he was able to put up some decent numbers. He threw some interceptions too, but when you're in an impossible situation, you just got to make the best of it and try to get the wins where you can. Nico's not used to that. He needs a clean pocket. He needs some time to throw the ball, and he's just not going to get that out there at UCLA. And he needs a defense. Look, everybody talks about Tennessee making the playoff last year, and they did. The defense is what mainly got them there. There were 3 games in the first half where we didn't score a point. In a Josh Heupel offense that has already put up over 100 points in 2 games. That's what a Heupel offense does. It puts up points really, really fast. Well, now because we have Joey, we can go fast. We couldn't go fast last year. Couldn't do it. We couldn't throw over the middle. There were certain things you just couldn't do. Well, now we can. So this trade's worked out much better than I expected. I think I was just ticked off at the whole timing of it and the wanting more money after you didn't earn it and all of that. But I'm really pleased so far, and I think the Tennessee fans are definitely pleased. If you read the comments under that UCLA video, Orange DNA said, no refunds, no returns, no exchanges. Nico is yours. Another guy said, not many people were very upset that Nico left. Shocked, yes. Upset, no. And it's just on down the line. And the comments are the same under my videos, the same way. It's like, see you later, Nico. So I think it's pretty easy to say Tennessee sitting at 2-0 with a quarterback that's thrown 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, that Tennessee's pretty pleased with the trade. And I told you folks, I wasn't worried about the interceptions, even though he's going to have some, okay? Joey likes to put the ball in some tight windows, and you'll see that as we start playing a lot better teams, because we got Georgia coming up this week, which is going to be, we've not beaten them in a long time. And their defense is one of the few defenses in the country that's been able to figure out HEUPEL, which is you just put up 5-star, 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 and you can match up pretty well against us. And that's the one defense that's really been able to cause us problems with a quarterback that can do what's necessary. Now, when Joe was there and Nico was there, that we couldn't go fast, so that eliminates one of the most dangerous parts of our offense. But with Joey, we can go as fast as we want. And as you can see from this graph right here, HEUPEL has no problem scoring.
Giggity.
The last couple years weren't as good with Joe and Nico, but you can see what Tennessee does when they've got the right guy, and it's normally around 40 points a game. Right now, we're averaging way over that. Now, that'll come down, but I'd say we'll end up somewhere. As long as Joey stays healthy this year, we should average around 40 points this year and sort of get back to what Tennessee offense is supposed to be. We're not supposed to be a defense-only team that and the offense complements the defense. No. It's an offensive team where the defense complements the offense. And as you can see from this graph, HEUPEL quarterbacks don't have trouble with interceptions. That's why I wasn't concerned about Joey's INTs that he had at Appy State. I know why those happened. They're not going to happen near as much with HEUPEL.
It's not going to happen.
And again, 2 games, no INTs. And I think you'll see similar numbers for him, what you just saw on that graph, if I had to guess. He'll have some. Every quarterback's going to have some interceptions. But I don't think it'll be anything crazy. Anyway, I'll be working on a second video. I got to talk about Florida. I got to talk about all these other games. But I did want to do a comparison on Joey and Nico. And so far, I know the Tennessee fans are very happy with the trade. And like the comment said, no returns, no takebacks, no Quincy's. If UCLA wants to trade him back, it's not going to happen. We are not going to listen.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp, Lloyd. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Lloyd.
Yeah, definitely not. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know we continue to cover all these big college sports stories. If you've not subscribed, boom, boom, boom. Hit that button right there. It won't cost you a dime. Help you get my videos. And right over here is the most recent video YouTube. Thanks, you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.
I want you to know it's over.
Well, bye.